Welcome to today's screencast on OMA, the NMS Operations Mobile Application. Today we'll be discussing the OMA platform changes and recent feature updates. My name is Todd Frisvold, and I'm the Principal Applications Engineer for the OMA product, and I'll be leading the discussion today. We will be covering these three topics today: OMA technology changes and what is driving them, recent OMA functional enhancements, and where are we going on the roadmap ahead. The OMA technology stack has evolved considerably over its lifetime. In this section, we will review where OMA started, the changes at different versions, and where it is moving to in the latest release. OMA 1 was released back in 2015 and was built on many standard technologies. We augmented NMS with RESTful Service APIs to allow for a new method to integrate mobile technology with the existing NMS system and services. We also utilize third-party web map servers to provide a richer mapping experience for our users, including Google Maps, OpenStreetMaps, and Oracle eLocation Maps. We targeted three major platforms: iOS, Android, and Windows, and they were all built as hybrid applications. The OMA client was assembled using a combination of open source technologies and frameworks, in addition to the use of Oracle Maps HTML5 product. With the Cordova framework, OMA could be coded once and built to run on three targeted platforms: iOS, Android, and Windows, and could also be developed and tested using browsers. In 2015, Cordova had a vibrant ecosystem with many third-party plugin contributors. However, in the end of the 2010s, the ecosystem began to deteriorate, and it was time for NMS to look for a more suitable technology base for OMA. With the release of NMS 2.4.01, OMA 2 was born. The high-level architecture remained, RESTful services and web map services using Oracle Maps, but the major change, Oracle Jet, was introduced. Oracle Jet is a JavaScript extension toolkit, a fully supported framework provided by Oracle, still utilizing standard web technologies as OMA 1, but with a team of Oracle product developers to support it. The Cordova ecosystem was still deteriorating, but it had been encapsulated by the Oracle Jet. And more importantly, Oracle Jet had a plan to move beyond Cordova in the future. Introducing OMA 2 Plus with the release of NMS 2.5.02. Same high-level architecture with mostly the same underlying technology, but welcome the breakthrough Progressive Web Application Technology, or PWA. We are still utilizing the Oracle Jet framework, but Cordova is gone. This is OMA's transformation from a hybrid application to a PWA, utilizing the latest web application technology. What's so great about progressive web apps? Build once, run everywhere. You point any device, iOS, Android, Windows, and yes, even Linux, to an OMA PWA link, and you can install and run OMA on all those devices. Also gone is the need for SDKs, developer licenses, and special hardware to build different OMA versions for each device. However, you still retain the look and feel of a native app with app icons, start options, and no browser borders. You also retain the ability to start and run the PWA version of OMA offline, completely disconnected from the network. But the best thing of all, PWAs can be deployed and installed from a web site given a simple web link. No need for complex app stores or mobile device management solutions. Another bonus, PWAs can detect updated versions and automatically download the updates while the user continues to run the older version, and informs the user when the update is ready, and the user can switch to the new version with a simple touch or on the next restart of the application. Other benefits of PWAs are the utilization of the growing set of standard web APIs for hardware integration with device cameras, GPS modules, device storage, and more. And finally, the PWA version of OMA should lower your cost to implement, deploy, and maintain OMA compared to the legacy versions of OMA. So let's roll up our sleeves and see what OMA as a PWA looks like. I will demonstrate how to install, run, update, and uninstall OMA on all the targeted platforms. Let's start with installing OMA on Windows using a Chrome browser. I've emailed myself a link to install OMA from. By clicking on the link, it will bring up Chrome, my default browser, and start the OMA download process. You will see the OMA icon in the Browser tab, and it may take a short period of time to download and start the OMA application. As the OMA application starts, you will see the normal pop-ups and login screen. But notice the Install as PWA button in the upper left part of the browser window. Prior to installing OMA as a PWA, you'll be able to run it as a pure web app, and it will function just as OMA does normally. But by hitting the Install PWA button, Chrome will pop up a Chrome install confirmation dialog, and by pressing that, it will install OMA as a PWA and pop it up as a PWA application standalone. You'll also notice on the Start menu, OMA 2 is also now listed as a normal app on the device. By closing out the browser and starting it again from the Start menu, it can start the OMA application. I will now just demonstrate running OMA as a PWA doing the normal things that a user would do. The login process, setting up the user profile, selecting a crew to be associated with, and then killing the app. Just like any other native app, I'm able to pin it to the start bar. I can pin it to the taskbar, and you'll notice it appears on the taskbar in the bottom of the screen, and start it up from there. To uninstall OMA, there are many ways of doing it, but the easiest way is just use the ... on top of the application and hit the uninstall button, clear the cache, and uninstall it, and it will be removed from the device. It will also get removed from the start menus and any other ways of accessing the device, including the task bar. Next, we'll demonstrate how to install the application using the Microsoft Edge browser on Windows. Since it's not my default browser, I'm going to copy the link and paste it into the Edge browser. And it will start up in the Edge browser very much like it did in Chrome, with the icon listed on the top, and it'll take a few moments for it to install here. Once installed, it'll start up just like it did in Chrome with the normal pop-ups, and you'll be able to run it as a normal web application at this point in time. But when you install it on Edge, it'll pop up the Edge application install screen. It'll look a little different, but again, you just hit the install button and it'll pop it up. But it does have a dialog that comes up and asks you a few more things if you'd like to install it with the start menu, taskbar, and those types of things. But otherwise, the application is now installed and running as a PWA as an Edge application. You can see it's installed on the start menu, and I can start it from there. Or if I look at my desktop, it also has a desktop application there from the install dialog that popped up was an option, and I can run it from there. I can also use the ... just like I could on Chrome and do a number of things with the application, including install it. But just like any other app, I can also uninstall it from the Start menu and hit the uninstall button, and it goes away both from the Start menu and from the taskbar. Now let's demonstrate installing OMA on an Android device. I'm going to bring up that same email I sent to myself on Windows and click the icon, and it's going to bring it up in Chrome on Android. You'll see up in the corner the install icon up on top, and it'll take a few moments to install here. Once it completes the download, I'll be able to run it as a web app on the Android device. Again, you'll see the install as PWA pop-up button in the upper corner, but I'll continue using it here as just a web app, and it will function just normally. When I hit the install button, it does a pop-up just like it does in Chrome and Windows, and we'll install it as a PWA on the device. It'll take a few moments, but it will notify you when it's done. Now it's installed as a shortcut in my screen, and there it is. By clicking that, it'll start the app as a PWA instead of as a browser app. And if I look at the active processes on the device, I'll see both the Chrome version and a PWA version running at once, so I'll just kill the Chrome version and continue running it as a PWA. Go ahead and log in. And it looks like just a normal OMA application. Finally, let's demonstrate installing this on an iOS device, in this case an iPad. I'll bring up that same email and install it from the link. It'll bring it up in Safari and start the install process. Once it's downloaded to the device, all the pop-ups will come up, including extra security one for iOS, but you'll also get one additional pop-up that says to install on iOS, use the icon that specifies on the dialog there, which is in the upper part of the browser, to install it on the device as a PWA. By clicking that icon up on top, it has Add to Home Screen. Looks like a regular PWA install dialog there. If you hit the Add button, it'll then install it as an icon on the device. And you can see it there on the list of icons. By selecting it, it will then start it as a PWA application. You'll be able to log into the PWA just as you were with all the other devices. I'll take this one a little bit further and demonstrate the map downloads once you get logged in. We'll go to the Map tab. The normal map download dialog will pop up, and we'll download all the maps in one zip file, and you'll see them on the device. Now we'll demonstrate on the iOS device running it in offline mode. So we'll flip to airplane mode. Make sure that all the versions of OMA are killed from the device. Start it back up in airplane mode, and it launches and runs just like a native app would. Then for the final demonstration, I'll demonstrate updating the application. I did update the application on the server, so this time when I launch OMA, he'll do his normal check to the server, And if he finds an update, you'll notice that there's going to be a flashing dialog up in the upper left-hand corner of the application saying downloading update. While this is happening, you can continue to use OMA, log into it, and do whatever you want while that update is going on. And when it's done, it will notify the user that the download is available and ready to be used. And you can see it now say click to install update. I can continue to use the application, but once I click that button, it will then restart OMA in the new version of the application. Now we're running the updated version of the application, and it's that simple. So we did demonstrate all aspects of OMA lifecycle on our device, the installation, the running, the updating, and the ability to uninstall OMA. In addition to the OMA transformation to PWA technology, we've done a lot of functional enhancements to OMA. We have added two authentication options to OMA. First, we historically required authentication of user credentials to be done at the CACG base server. However, some customers' LDAP servers are not available to their most secure network zone where NMS servers run, including CSEJB. So we now support user credential validation at the NMSWS server level, and we only pass a JSON web token to the CSEJB for authentication. This will give some more flexibility to your IT department to deploy tighter security schemes. The second new authentication option is the ability to use Oracle Identity Cloud Server. This was available in OMA 1 but not implemented in OMA 2 until now. Oracle Identity Cloud Server provides the ability to integrate different authentication providers into one and can add additional security, including two-factor authentication to the OMA login and allow users to reset their own passwords. Next, the customer list summary is now available if there are too many customers to list in the dialog. The summary includes a total number of customers, a breakdown of the customers by critical type, and can list only the critical customers. Next, we have done many improvements to affect map performance and OMA responsiveness. OMA now subscribes for map updates and only picks up changes as they are made on the NMS server. This minimizes the polling for all information repeatedly when no changes have been made on the NMS server, and will reduce the load on the OMA client and on the NMS server. We've also changed the query scheme to get real-time statuses and conditions from using the viewer screen boundaries and device handles to partitions, and have used the same caches as the NMS viewer to eliminate the need to go back to the database and get that same information. These changes have dramatically improved the panning and zooming performance of the OMA viewer. We also added a map file cache at the NMSWS server to eliminate the redundant transfer of maps from the NMS server for each OMA client request. Here's a list of many more map features added to OMA in the last year. As you can see, OMA continues to add rich functionality on every release. I would like to thank our many customers for suggesting and helping us prioritize the feature enhancements. Beyond the NMS 2502 release, the roadmap for OMA is exciting. We are planning to expand the offline capabilities of OMA. Each project implementation will need to decide what offline functionality is appropriate for their business practice and enable or disable these features to meet their needs. Examples include offline switch sheet step completion and offline device controls. Another area of focus will be to improve the user experience, making it simpler to use and more intuitive. We have many areas we are looking at to expand OMA functionality. Stay tuned, it's an exciting journey. I would like to summarize the product management and product development direction with regards to OMA. We are committed to utilizing the latest technologies in the mobile platform industry to make OMA a user-friendly application that can be developed and deployed with ease and at minimum cost. We continue to appreciate our customers' excitement around OMA, and we are listening to your needs and requests, and we will continue to invest in the OMA product. Please continue to give us feedback and suggestions to expand the OMA product to meet your growing business needs. I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. For more information, review the NMS Product Users Guide and the OMA Install and Deployment Guide. Also, feel free to contact me by email or any of the NMS Product Management team with any questions. Thanks for listening.